Hi, I'm Tom Zimmerman from the EMDR podcast. This episode is about strategies we can use to manage activation in flash-like approaches, particularly the 4 blinks approach. Flash, when it comes to activation, is different than many other psychotherapies. And most other psychotherapies, whatever we activate is what we notice. Activation and noticing are very centrally tied together. In flash approaches, we don't tend to notice what we activate. We lightly activate, push it out of awareness, load up a calm scene, and do all of our noticing in the calm scene. If we are noticing activation in flash-like approaches, they're not working, or they're working incredibly slowly. And that's likely how you're going to end up with a SUDS of 3, 4, 5, 6 at the end of a session. So the ability to activate is important. The ability to, shine our little laser on a particular memory, but not to set the whole thing on fire, because we don't want to set the whole thing on fire because that'll cause a body-based catastrophe. We probably would have activated more memory content than we can easily, push out of our awareness or container. So our goal is to very lightly touch the memory, enough to bring it into consciousness and awareness, not enough to snap the mousetrap of the amygdala, and definitely not enough to cause a body-based catastrophe, or even very strong body-based response. So overactivation is a problem. Overactivation simply means we've grabbed more of the memory content than the little bitty tiny that we want to grab when we're activating. The problem in working a lot of times with complex trauma is that it's really hard for many people to play only a few milliseconds of a bad memory. They are used to, their nervous system is used to playing pieces of tape, playing multiple frames. So even when we do kind of glance at a memory, sometimes what happens is we open the door to glance at a memory, the memory grabs us, we fall into the room, and now we have a little bit of something to manage in session that is really not helpful for the flash resolution process. So the memory that we're working on and the calm scene really need to be separated. Ideally, the memory we're working on and the calm scene need to be fully separated, meaning when we're focusing on the memory, we need to very quickly glance at the memory, push it completely out of awareness, and there's strategies that are built into 4 blinks that are designed to do that. We really do want to have every bit of awareness, right? Every bit of our screen of awareness available for the calm scene. If in this little corner, there's a piece of the memory, or if this little corner of the body, we're noticing, tension, stress, not pressure, tension, movement, heaviness, emptiness, the calm scene and the bad memory are intersecting. So again, it sounds like what we're doing is something almost impossible, because we are trying to incredibly lightly activate the very people who have an enormous amount of wounding, and whose wounding often will come out in very intrusive ways. So in some ways, it almost seems a little bit too easy, to tell a client, just play a frame or two of that video, when in fact the nervous systems we're working with, it's kind of like we're gonna put the match on the fuse that goes right to the powder keg. But we don't want the powder keg to go off. We want to just light the fuse and then snip it just that quickly. So this can be a little bit of a difficult task in any kind of approach. But one of the things that really does help is psychoeducating clients about the role of activation, about ways that containering can be really, really helpful, and letting them know our goal is to minimally activate. Our goal is ideally glance at that memory for 50 milliseconds, right? Glance at that memory for 50 milliseconds, whatever it is right here, right now that's distressing, put it in your container, push it out of your awareness. If there are problems with that, strengthen the container, push it away further. Simply letting the clients know that's our goal. Rehearsing this with clients. We can go up to an actual door, right? The client can put their hand, they could do this in session, clients can do this, through telehealth. Go up to an actual door, quickly open it, close it, and then describe what is the one thing that you saw when you open that door and close it. And obviously this is a room, this is a spare bedroom, this is a room in which there's nothing in there that's triggering. What we're practicing is the somatic experience of quickly opening something and closing it, so that tied with opening is this simultaneous almost closing action, because that's what we want to do to the traumatic memory. So we can practice using a door. And what is it that you see? I see the dresser knob. Okay, good. Can you see that dresser knob go into your container? Can you see it go into your container? It assumes we've built that already for them. See it go into your container and see that go out of your awareness. See your container get smaller, smaller, smaller till it's just a little speck on the wall. Okay. Another strategy we can do is we can, with the client's permission, we can briefly ask them to close their eyes, turn their heads just a little bit, and then very quickly open, close your eyes, right? And just for a blink, in less than the amount of time that it takes to blink your eyes, you want to open your eyes, close them, and then whatever it is, whatever the central feature is in what you're looking at, whatever your kind of gaze is drawn to, then we can have the client get that little snapshot, see that go into the container, shrink up if it needs to, go into the container and see it get sent out of awareness. We're almost using, closed eyes and then open them, almost like the shutter of an old school camera. So clients that are probably older than 30 will remember cameras that had actual shutters that would go, just that quick. And that's kind of what we can do with the eyes as an imaginary camera. Another thing that we can do, give me just a minute, I'm not fully prepared. Another thing that we can do is in activation, if the client has had trouble or we're worried about the client being able to quickly open the door and close it, and we're afraid the client may be, they open it and then they're going to get dragged into this memory because a flashback is likely. We can try distancing techniques with our metaphorical door to the memory. So often I'll say, quickly open the door, close it, whatever it is you see. And we kind of do that, with the whole memory right here, and then the slice that we have that gets containered. You can also imagine that this is the door to the memory, and you can put it all the way across the room on the wall, and you can tape it. You can tape it to the wall, and then that's your door, right? And then when the client is opening the door, right, they just see it open, they see it close. And then what that may do is it may give us a little bit of distance from that memory. So now instead of checking the memory and the memory being this big, the memory is going to be this big. It's going to be smaller. And if the memory does try to, come out at you, We do have a little bit more time. I have a tiny bit more time, hopefully. This doesn't work all the time. It works some of the time. So it is something to try. And if nothing else, it does reinforce the idea. It is really, really important that you do not fall into that memory. So um, if they do, if the client does, if the memory bursts out, or whatever metaphor you want to use, the memory bursts out, or the client is dragged into the memory, there is a episode about managing flashbacks on the Four Blinks website that is really, really helpful. I hope everyone has a chance to listen to that, because flashbacks are a possibility. You do enough work and a client is going to have a flashback in session. It's important that you know in pretty good detail how you're going to manage that should it happen. So memories don't just come out, out of our kind of out of our metaphorical room as a flashback. Memories can also emerge with a little bit more content than we would like when they show up in the body. So it is not unusual, particularly in the first handful of times that we're checking the memory, where we open the door and close, for the client to report a good bit of distress in the body. And you do want to keep your eyes on your client. If you are seeing distress in the body, it's important that that distress get containered. You do want to have that distress on the radar. You want to anticipate it, and you want to make sure that you have strategies for dealing with it. I really like the resource of the vacuum cleaner or the shop vac. If we imagine, most people have worked a shop vac before, or if they haven't worked a shop vac before, they've almost certainly worked a vacuum cleaner at, the kind of quarter vacuum cleaners that you may use to clean out your car at a car wash. So those can be very, very, very powerful vacuums. And a shop vac, just a black hosed shop vac, can be very, very good at vacuuming out and seeing it. Clients really do want to see that black or gray or whatever it is going into the shop vac. It may take a little bit of time to vacuum it out, and that is okay. But I really do like the metaphorical vacuum resource to get distress out of the body. And if you're an EMDR therapist, this is a little bit sacrilegious, because we go through all of the trouble to develop clients' capacity to sit with and tolerate and notice distress, to now be vacuuming it out. This is not EMDR therapy. This is a very, very different approach to therapy. It is a different pathway. And if the client has a fair amount of body-based activation, there is not much you're going to be able to do with Flash. There really does need to be some substantial separation between the memory and its activation and the calm scene. There just needs to be, which is why I really like the container. The container gives that slice, right? It gives that slice of activation in the memory somewhere to go. And really, if we think about step 3, we think about step 5 as checking in on the memory and then containering it and then pushing that container out of our awareness, all as one process, right? All as one action. We're opening the door, we're checking whatever it is right here, right now that's distressing is going in the container, going out of our awareness, all as one single movement. It gives that, right? It gives that distress somewhere to go. It lets us route it away from us. And metaphorically, ritually, that can be very, very helpful. I love when my clients have their own kind of, their own body-based way of doing this. So they'll kind of, really go quick, and then you'll see them, they'll kind of, whole heads will go almost like they're dropping it, with their heads and with their awareness into this container. And then they come back, they come here, they push, push everything out of their awareness except for the calm scene, do their blinks. Good. So activation is key. It is essential. Minimally activating one micro slice at a time, sending that into the container is the way to go. If your clients struggle because they're activating too much, we have a problem. If your clients are really, really struggling because they're starting here and they're opening up all of these other memories, we have a problem. I've been really, really impressed by clients' ability to not open a whole bunch of memories when we ask them not to. Very, very rarely when clients are given that guidance, do they open up way more memory content than they should. So the goal of activation is to find the slice, the micro slice of distress in this memory. And then what we're doing is we're pushing it out of our awareness. We're loading up our calm scenes. We're doing our blinks. And you know what calm scenes and blinks are doing? They are not resolving that memory. We haven't gotten to that whole memory yet. What they're resolving is the piece of it that we just containered. We're digesting this memory one slice at a time. This is not unique. This is how we work in many, many, many psychotherapies that are transformative. And Flash in that respect is no different. So again, you're not checking in on the memory. You're checking the memory to see what in this moment has distress that needs to be containered. And the moment you find it, it's already moving toward the container. So can you see why I like the container? Because it gives it somewhere to go rather than just sitting here. Or if we activate it and then it just plops here, and then we pivot over here and do some talking, that may not be enough. We may need that distress to be directed or diverted away from us. We may need a safe place, using a safe ritual for that to go, so that it is out of awareness, out of our body, and really temporarily just out of our whole horizon of awareness and focus. So activation's key. There really are important, helpful ways to help clients minimally activate. And a lot of times when there are problems, it's because there is activation intersecting with the calm scene. And if you play more than just a little bitty or just a little bitty click of the camera, if the camera is in video mode and the client is playing scenes, expect there to be problems. So help clients find the micro slice of distress, container it. Flash is likely to go like a hot knife through butter. Give some of these things a try. Thank you for joining, and good luck in your work with really clients with pretty severe and complex trauma. Flash is an amazing tool, and it can let you do what you already do with clients much faster, more efficiently, and with a lot less risk for abreaction and for other types of catastrophe. Thanks a lot. You take care. Bye-bye.